One, two, one, two.
Clap of Destiny. And Corey's Destiny tonight is here on the Smack Panda podcast. Corey Legge, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Cheers for having me.
Corey, I understand you've got a single out at the moment, and you brought this beautiful new Cole Clark guitar along, which I thought maybe you could bust it out for us. Let's start off with the song. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds good. We've got a song out called Love You and Leave You. I've gotta love you and leave you again. It's never any easier. I've gotta love you and leave you again. Kiss me, baby, one more time. I've gotta love you and leave. I've gotta hit that road, chasing dreams. I've gotta reap what I've sown. I've gotta love you and leave you again. It's never any easier. I've gotta love you and leave you again. Kiss me, baby, one more time. I've gotta love you and leave. I've gotta catch that plane, take to the skies, touchdown in WA. And you know that it gets me down, and you know that it knocks me round. Working every day just to keep the wolves at bay. Will you stay if I stay a little longer? Will you stay if I stay a little longer? I've gotta love you and leave you again. It's never any easier. I've gotta love you and leave you again. Kiss me, baby, one more time. I've gotta love you and leave you again. It's never any easier. I've gotta love you and leave you again. Kiss me, baby, one more time. I've gotta love you and leave. I've gotta love you and leave. Love you and leave. I've gotta love you and leave you.
Ooh. Cool, man. Thanks for that. She's sounding great.
Thank you.
You haven't named her yet?
Ooh, I'm getting there. I'm thinking Goldilocks. It's got a lot of gold hardware on it.
Oh, yes. She eats a lot of porridge. That song, that's off a new album coming out?
Yeah, so it's the second single off the new album that's coming out early next year. And I recorded it back in June at Love Hurt Studios. So, yeah, it's been a long time in the making and a lot of lockdowns in between. So.
Yeah. Well, for those in the future, we're now in December. Isn't it? Jesus Christ, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year, to put it lightly.
Yeah, and I understand you started recording that album just as the third or fourth lockdown, whatever it was, came into being.
Yeah, it was the big one that we just had. So I think it was over 3 months in the end. So from late June till... Yeah, it was through to September at least.
It was more than 4 months because I had the kids at home. Yeah. So I was counting every single day.
Would have known all about it.
I knew all about it. It was wild, man. And to actually be able to do work during that time, at least you got an album out. Well, you got some work done.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked. In the end, I got 2 albums recorded.
Oh, really?
One for this project, my solo project, and one for my other band, the Swamp Stompers.
Oh, great. And the Swamp Stompers, so you've got your solo stuff under Corey Legge, and Swamp Stompers is a duo, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's me and Luke Leitenberg. He's the bass player, singer, and he does didgeridoo as well. So
Okay.
he and I are the front men, and we get session drummers to fill in these days.
Yeah, fair enough.
If we're lucky, we get our mate Ben to fill in on drums on the tours. But yeah, we're wrapping it up after 10 years and putting this album out. So exciting times for that project.
So this is it. You're going to drop the mic with this album.
Yeah, so debut album and we're finished. And
That's fantastic. So is a 10-year like a greatest hits? It's going to be a great bloody album.
pretty
man.
much.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so there's songs on there from 2012 when we're all teenage uni students.
Yeah. Oh, far out. That's well, good on you for finally getting it done.
Yeah. We would have been pretty disappointed not to have something to show for 10 years of work.
Yeah. Well, if it's just the two of you, do you really have to stop it? Or, you could always just get back together every now and then, do like Faith No More or something,
Yeah.
When you run out of money, man, you get the band back together, you'll be all right.
Well, everyone's saying that it's the John Farnham farewell tour. It was meant to be 2020, but now it's going to be late 2022.
Yeah, next year, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And the single you just played us, the lyrics, they sound pretty heartfelt. Like, that's a story, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah. I actually wrote it in the car driving from Wollongong up to Old Bar on the mid-north coast. I was sort of, I just left my partner at home and knew I was going to be away for a solid few days, and I was just like, oh yeah, I've got to love you and leave you, and it's literally just as it happened, I wrote it.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a she, of course.
Yeah.
Well, not of course, for our LGBTQI friends out there. But for Corey, yeah, and did she like it?
Yeah, she likes it. It's she was a bit iffy when Henry Wagons played it the other day on Double J, and he said he felt sorry for my partner because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
But
good on Henry. I like Henry.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
I remember seeing the Wagons back. For people not in Wollongong, there used to be a pub here called the Oxford, and it was the music pub. It was everything. I don't know how long it's been gone now, over 10 years. But I remember every night they had a band on, and one crazy like Wednesday night, my soon-to-be wife and I were sitting there having a few beers, and this country band came up, and they were fantastic, man. Like, they were just great. And and I wasn't a big country kind of dude. And it was the Wagons.
Oh, nice.
And I've never seen a dude play the washboard like the guy in the Wagons, man. He got to like stroke it once every 30 seconds, but Jesus, did he stroke that washboard?
He's a
and he looked like Uncle Fester, and he had his hair back. It was a special night. We bought an album.
Yeah, nice. I'm keen to check him out. I've heard so much about him and sent him messages back and forth, but I've never seen him or the band.
He's got that deep voice,
isn't
he?
For sure.
He loves it.
He's got that radio voice.
Yeah. Well, so he's got is it Triple J he's on, or Double J?
Double J, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got Tower of Song.
That's a good Leonard Cohen song that I'm actually learning for this bloody awful gig I got coming up. So, it's a good song. So I'm thinking, because my father-in-law says you can't educate your audience, and I just don't believe that. I think you can, man. Like from my chefing life, I remember, when I first started chefing, like in South Auckland, New Zealand, people didn't even know what lasagna was. Like, New Zealand didn't get the Italian influence that Australia did. You know? They had no idea, and I made it for them, and they ate it. And I think good music will always come through, no matter where you're at. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like having played blues on the road for 10 years, I find that people in their 20s, they can listen to my interpretation of blues and really get into it, but they would never normally listen to the original stuff from, like the 20s and 30s onwards.
Yeah, I think it's not exposed to it. Or I think there's so much out there, isn't there? So much input that, like, I think there's a real big role for a Henry Wagons or something, for a guide through the maelstrom of all this information everywhere. Like the Spotify things came out, and today, like, what did you listen to last year? And I listened to like 3 albums, like, over and over again. I'm like, what's wrong with me? There's 1,000 albums a day, probably more going up on that bloody thing.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I found that I really just relied heavily on 4 or 5 artists just over and over again. Like even today, I just kept recycling them after I got home from work, just the same artists that I've listened to for the past 6 months.
Yeah, is that a good? It's a good thing. Can you name drop one of them? Who you listen to?
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Tyler Childers. He's a ranger from the US. He's my sort of country.
Yeah, yep.
Been listening to a lot of Hayley Witters. She's also an American sort of country, alt country artist.
Okay, we'll go back where you came from and everything. But it's interesting to see you're in a blues band. The Swamp Stompers sound exactly like their name. You know, they're a swamp and blues band.
Yeah.
Stomping. Where did the interest in country music come from? Did it grow on you, or was it always there?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. I mean, when I first started playing guitar, I distinctly remember listening to a lot of Keith Urban and a lot of Casey Chambers.
Yeah.
I even had the Casey Chambers songbook for, I think it was Barricades and Brick Walls or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I learnt that back to front, listened to the album on repeat. And then I sort of really dropped off and just listened to classic 70s rock for the next 10 years through high school.
Yeah,
A lot of Deep Purple, Zeppelin, AC/DC, Sabbath, all that.
Well, you
As
can't go wrong with that, let's face it, You're talking Smack Panda podcast language right there.
Yeah, so there was that phase. And I mean, I still love those bands just as much now, but I think, when the Swamp Stompers started finishing up, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself in the blues genre too much.
Yeah.
I still play blues and there's still blues influenced songs that I do, but I wanted to branch out into more singer-songwriter territory.
Yeah.
But even then I didn't really know what sort of sound I was going to have, so I was just writing songs that felt natural. And
So yes, I was just about to say, so it wasn't a conscious decision, you were just writing tracks and these are the tracks.
Yeah, so I wrote maybe 5 tracks in the genre that I'm now doing at uni, and I honestly didn't know what genre it was.
Yeah.
I assumed it was sort of a mix of folk and some sort of rootsy type influence there, but yeah, then I started listening to a lot of country artists that term themselves as alt country, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's
a wide bloody berth there, the alt country thing.
Yeah, so alt country, Americana, and I sort of just started leaning more and more towards that side of things rather than blues in recent times.
Yeah. Well, I was almost exactly the same. 70s rock was my real buzz, Led Zeppelin especially. But, if you listen to something, one of the last albums on vinyl I was listening to a couple of days ago was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which is a bluegrass album from the movie, and it's just fucking fantastic, man. And everything, it's got hardcore acoustic playing, choirs. Have you listened to it?
No.
Oh man, it's fucking phenomenal. It's Americana, I suppose, country Americana, but it's all from the 1800s, I suppose, turn of the century. And what an album! I'll have to send it through to you.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, great acoustic guitar playing. They knew how to flat pick those people. Back then, man.
That's
a bloody great.
Different world, that stuff.
Oh shit, yeah. So and now we find you. How many albums in? So new albums coming out next year.
Yeah, so we've put out 2 albums in 2 years, and the third album will be sort of 3.5 years after I first decided to start releasing. So 2019, Driving Out of Eden was the first one. Then I did the second one some days late 2019, but released it 2020. So went over to New Zealand twice to do those albums.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So that your debut album, you headed over to Littleton and worked with the producer?
Ben Edwards.
Ben Edwards, that's right. From Marlon Williams fame and Julia Jacqueline, and my personal favourite artist at the moment, Aldous Harding. Wonderful, wonderful artist,
Cool.
So he's the man, basically. So, how was that experience for you? And how'd you get over there? How'd you get into him? I think he'd be pretty busy and stuff, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it was an interesting process. I mean, I'd been demoing songs for about 5 years on the side while the Swamp Stompers were touring hard, and I didn't have a means to really record them properly. And I noticed that there was a Young Regional Artist Scholarship through Create New South Wales, and the cut-off at the time was 25 years old, and I was 24
Bloody hell.
then, and I was like, okay, I might as well have a crack at it while I can.
Yeah.
So I put in the application to record with Ben Edwards for a debut EP. I put down as the criteria. And then, I got the funding, went over to New Zealand, and Ben heard my stuff and really pushed me to do an album instead.
Yeah.
So we pulled about another 2 or 3 songs.
But you had the songs ready anyway. There was maybe 2 songs that were half written that he heard and went, okay, there's something there. We'll just finish them off in the studio. And it was interesting in the sense that I'd never actually worked with my bass player Matt Crawford at that point. So we went over there almost not knowing each other at all, and we really bonded in the studio and became great mates through those albums. Yeah, for sure. He was going to be here tonight actually to help. But he had to take off with Murray from the Wiggles.
As you do.
As you do, down in bloody Melbourne. Yeah. Thunder Thumb, the Thunder Wombat, as they call him.
Wombat's a very good nickname, I think.
Yeah. Hey, while you got your guitar there, before you put it down, do you want to maybe could we hear something off that album?
Off the Driving Out of Eden or Some Days?
I think Driving Out of Eden, the first one.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot there, man.
That's right. I'll do the title track.
All right, let's do that.
This is one that's pretty close to my heart. I was a school teacher on the far south coast and had a bit of a rough day in the town of Eden and wrote this song while I was driving out of it. And it was a pretty cool experience. In the end, James Taylor actually shared the film clip to this one.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was unbelievable because I listened to his greatest hits on repeat while I was writing the song. So it was,
wow, that's weird.
Super crazy.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I'm driving out of Eden. Another day is done. I'm so damn sick of working and I'm tired of rising with the sun. Sometimes I sit and wonder what the hell went wrong. I'm so damn sick of working and I'm tired of rising with the sun. I'm driving out of Eden, driving out of here, driving out of Eden, now I'm done. Sometimes I think about you and all the things you said. You treated me like chewing gum stuck beneath your sneaker tread, and I'm looking to the future. The race has just begun. I'm chasing down that dotted line straight towards the setting sun. Now I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. I'm driving out of Eden, driving out of Eden, driving out of Eden. Now I'm done. I'm done. I'm done now, now, now. I'm done. I'm driving out of Eden. Now I'm done.
Whee! Were you done with Eden?
I sure was.
All right.
Hence, I haven't been back.
You haven't been back? That's fantastic. Screw you guys, I'm out of here.
I mean, I've been back to the town, but I haven't been back for work purposes.
Yeah. So how long were you working in Eden?
Probably only about a year, just on and off. I'm a casual teacher. That's what I'm trained as a music teacher in high schools. So, yeah, I do a lot of casual teaching when I'm not gigging.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm on a contract teaching special ed, so
Music and special ed, or
just all subjects.
okay?
I unfortunately don't get to teach music, but there are guitars in the room, so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, we get to do a little bit here and there, but not like curriculum proper music.
I was gonna, because I've had 2 kids go through high school, and a lot of high schools don't put much emphasis on music at all. I know when I was growing up in the 80s and early 90s, now it was all music was a really big aspect. Do you think it's dropped off a bit? And like we used to sing Beatles songs. Like I was only thinking the other day because have you seen the Beatles documentary that's out?
No, I haven't. I'd love to.
10 hours of Beatle madness.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good, man, because they're just normal dudes sitting around writing these amazing songs. And so as a songwriter, I think you'd get a hell of a lot out of it. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I know at band practice last night, all the fellas in the band were talking about how awesome it is, so I've got to do it.
It's pretty cool. And, and they're so young, man.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles broke up and John Lennon wasn't even 30 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's bloody crazy.
Hard to comprehend.
It is hard to comprehend. Actually, Matt and I were talking about it yesterday, and I've got this theory. It's not my theory. I kind of stole it, half of it, but it's the mushroom theory. So if you look, a mushroom pops up, but there's a lot of work that goes on underneath the ground before the mushroom can pop up, man. It's mycelium, and it's everywhere. The mycelium networks has worked its way into the roots of the plants and everything. It's been around for months, years.
Yeah. And
then when it's had enough and it's ready to go, it pops up a mushroom. And when I think of the Beatles and how young them and like the Small Faces, they were only 16 years old and they were putting out incredible music. I think they had good soil. There were venues there. There was money in the music industry. There was art colleges. They all went to art college, and they didn't have to pay for it. So, I think there was just, if you can be the most beautiful seed in the world, but if you're not in the right soil,
definitely,
you're not going to germinate.
Plus Hamburg.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a part of the
They
soil
went
as
over
well.
there for what?
They
12 months, was it?
Yeah, was it 6 hours a night or something like that for 12 months?
Read Outliers.
Yeah.
Fuck, there's a big part of the chapter in that.
And as a musician, how do you get trained up like that now? You've got to fight to get one little gig. You've got to drag the people in as well. You don't get back.
It's such a tough slog these days. I mean, especially with COVID, that's just a whole other ball game.
Wow,
but I mean, even with that, people are hesitant to go to gigs. The venues are hesitant to put on music because they're worried about not making money off it after so long of not making any money. But it's been 6 months since I've played a gig and struggling to sell tickets. Yeah. So it's like, you put it on and the people don't come. So it's tough.
Well, and there's so much other entertainment. The thing is, I have never regretted going to a show. You might be tired after work on a Saturday or whatever it is, but if someone says, let's go, there's a band on, you got to go.
Yeah.
People, you got to go. You're not going to regret it. It's going to be fucking great.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've never really been to a gig that I've not enjoyed in some way, whether it's the people that are there or the venue.
As a musician, if the band's really shit, you can pay them out. Well, I'm better than that shit. Not that we do that. But yeah, I was hoping that, I hope things pick up ticket-wise because we're bloody lucky to be able to get out. We know what it's like not to be able to go to shows, and that I'm guilty of it as well. I would turn down shows because I was watching bloody some crap on TV or something like that, and I was tired. But not anymore, man. I'm going to anything. If it's on, I'm going. Yeah,
for sure. I think COVID's changed everyone's perspectives on, how we spend our time. Like, sitting on the couch every night, night after night for months, you'd kill to go and see just one crappy gig in the corner of a pub somewhere.
Yeah, just to be there surrounded by actual people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, last night we didn't watch TV and we just ended up everyone was just sitting on the couch without the TV on, basically, and I couldn't believe it. Even the teenage daughter started talking. Like, we were sitting around talking for like 2 hours. It was amazing, man. Yeah. Peeps, turn the TV off. As long as Smack Panda podcast's not on. Then you'll be right. Otherwise, put it on. Everyone will love it. So let's go right back then. So you grew up in Bega.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Cheese Town.
The Cheese Town. Yeah. Did you like cheese growing up?
I did. I still do.
Oh, yes. What was that like? So, you grew up on a farm?
Yes and no. So, probably a good time to clarify this, actually. So, my first single that I released back in August, one of the choruses talks about growing up on the farm. So,
Yep.
my parents had probably would have been like 3 acres or something, but it was connected to my grandparents' 100-acre hobby farm. So there was,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was technically a farm, but not an operational dairy farm or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100 acres is still enough, man.
Yeah,
You know, that's a lot.
yeah. So we had plenty of freedom, like riding
That sounds great.
motorbikes and horses. I mean, probably wasn't old enough at that point to properly ride horses, but it was always an enjoyable thing that we could do. And standing in the back of utes with no seatbelts on, and
Yeah, yeah.
all the dangerous things you do when you're a kid on a farm.
Yeah, especially in Australia. Come across many snakes?
Ooh, yeah. There's quite a few stories of my old man coming across snakes in that paddock.
Yeah.
Pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, they can freak you out.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I've never really come too close to them. Like, I've seen them from a distance, but I've never had any crazy near misses with steps or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, they're quite, what's that word? Shy creatures, really, generally.
Yeah,
Apart from the brown snakes, evidently. But I don't know if that's just some type of weird hangover from Australia's colonial past.
They're just arseholes.
Brown snakes?
Yeah,
Are they?
they're fucked. They're fucked.
Well, fuck the brown snakes then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had not in this house, another house we were renting that had a pool, and I came home from work one night and there was a palm frond had fallen in the pool, and I'm like, I was for some reason I was feeling energetic, and I'll get it out of the pool, and I went to reach for it, and it was a huge bloody python, man. It was gigantic, and it moved. Holy shit, that's not a palm frond. Then I look, and it didn't look anything like a palm frond. It looked like a fucking python. Isn't that weird? You see what you expect. Seeing isn't believing, it's believing is seeing. I believed it was a palm frond because there's a palm tree there, and I just picked the shit out of it.
it's the stuff nightmares are made of.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading a book called Thinking Fast.
This
and
is the
Slow.
ghost of Adam,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, we don't have enough money for another camera.
We're on Patreon, we're not.
Fucking
But if you
COVID.
want to set us up a Patreon account, give us
Anyway,
money.
so the book's mostly about two parts. You got two different thinking patterns,
Yeah.
and one is system one, which is your intuition brain, and that's like your fast thinking. Where your system two is a lazy fucker that does all the complicated thinking.
Oh, yeah.
so
yeah.
Everyone's pretty much running on system one,
Yeah.
and the lazy one only gets involved when you struggle and your heart rate goes up and things like that, where you actually start computing.
You really have to think about it.
Yeah.
The rest of it's just running on basically, what's that?
Intuition.
Autopilot.
Yeah, pretty much.
I reckon emotion's got a lot to do with it. Like emotional truth is
100%.
but it's actually a really good judge
Yeah.
of what to do, but we override it a lot or something.
It
But if you-
depending on your mood prior, they could get you to use parts of they could predict what you're going to pick. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I know. They did a study back in the 70s of whether you've had lunch or not with judges.
Yeah.
And if the judge, you never want to go
That's
in front
in
of
the book.
in front of a judge before lunch, man.
Yeah.
They're fucking hungry.
It was
and you're
huge.
going down.
It was huge too. The percentage was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
60%, and then after they had lunch, it was like 20.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Like with Haley, my wife, she's a lawyer, and some of the judgments that come. I don't even know if I can say that. Anyway, there's some. It's a wild system, man. You can go in there, and you're going to win this without a doubt, and then you can lose. Like there's humans involved all through it. And I thought with the legal system, could it be almost the law is kind of in stone? Isn't it something an AI could handle?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, these are the points and that, you know, although you don't have the human mitigating circumstance thing. And there are mitigating circumstances, but surely that can be weighted as well. I don't know.
You'd think it'd be more reliable.
You
Surely.
think it would?
It'd be probably more even.
It
Like
would.
straight
Yeah, well,
down.
there'd be no, I don't like the look of that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had lunch.
Yeah, well, I've had lunch. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I've been in front of a judge since I was 22 or something like that. But I was a little rascal when I was younger. And the only time that happened in Australia, well, for being in trouble. And the judge said to me, right, you've got a $200 fine. It was the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. I was drunk. I was an idiot. Cop said, what do you got in your bottle? And I accidentally spilt it and they threw me in the paddy wagon. Good thing about it, though, they took my ticket off me. They didn't have the right to do it. And this was in Brisbane. And I got into the concert anyway. I snuck around the back where all the trucks and that were, jumped over these barbed wire fences, went through where all the roadies and that were, and jumped off the side of the stage.
Yeah, nice.
So, anyway.
It's the best when you think there's no chance of getting into something. You've got no reason to get in.
Yeah.
I had something similar in at Glastonbury in England.
Oh, did you go to Glastonbury?
Yeah, so
awesome. Yeah.
just a series of crazy good luck events occurring consecutively. So I thought I'd missed out on tickets to begin with, and then they released, I think, maybe another 2,000 tickets, like a last resort, last release. And I was online at like 3 a.m. in Australia, just like with two laptops, just button bashing. And then I finally got something, bought it and went over there. And
you went over there just for the show?
Well, that was sort of the basis of the trip,
yeah.
and then sort of planned everything around it. But
Brilliant.
I had a mate playing guitar for Julia Jacklin, so
Oh, cool, yep.
yeah, I watched their set and then caught up with him. And
She was at Glastonbury.
yeah, she played in the BBC. Were filming her, and
Well,
Yeah.
Julie Jacklin is good. I do like her, so check her out if you don't know her. Where's she from? Is it Blue Mountains or something, is it?
yeah, I think she's somewhere close to Winmalee. I think she grew up in the Blue Mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got cool videos.
Yeah, so her it was her partner at the time. So he gave me the tip off that the Killers were doing a secret show at Glastonbury,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like only the artist really knew about it.
Yeah.
So he gave me the tip off, and I just walked straight towards the venue that he told me, and then there was just security guards circling the whole venue because it reached capacity too quickly, and I think there was about 100 of us, and we all sort of agreed at once that we're just going to run at security.
Do it. Yeah, good on you.
There was about maybe 10 security to 100 people.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Overwhelmed them, man.
I was like, I'll go in the middle of the pack somewhere, let the ones at the front take the heat. And I was like, they're not going to catch me. Like, if they get me, I'm screwed. But
yeah. They didn't get you?
The little dude that I am, there's a reason my last name's Legge. I've got good legs on me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember doing that in Mount Smart in Auckland once. It was a big day out or something, and none of us had any money, and so everyone was waiting by the fences. They had these chain fences there. And I thought all these people, there's like a couple of hundred people waiting outside, and I thought they were just hanging out with their girlfriends and smoking cigarettes and listening to music. But they're all waiting for someone to go over the fence, and I was the first one to go over. And so I jumped over the fence with a couple of mates and all that, and next thing, there's 200 people behind me, and they thought I knew where I was going. I had no fucking idea. And it was funny, we ended up in the rugby pitch, like nowhere near the bands, and then the security guys just shone a light on us and opened up this huge gate, and we all had to just walk out.
So you would have been popular.
I wasn't popular. Don't follow the leader. Yeah, I've been watching not lately, but I found this thing on Glastonbury, on the very first Glastonbury festival. Oh my God, it was fucking wild, man. It happened, I think it was 1970, the year after Woodstock.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the end of the 60s. And there was so much acid going on. There wasn't really a stage. It was some type of weird pyramid.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really a crowd or a band. It was all kind of amorphous. And it was all mud and witches and Wicca shit. And it ended up with this guy, Arthur Brown, who basically invented heavy metal. Like Ozzy Osbourne, when he talks about metal and that, he got into it because Arthur Brown played it at school. And this guy had a song called Fire. I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. And it's fucking great, man. He can sing. He's like Chris Cornell, and he's like 70 or 80 now. And but they finished the show, and they look like Slipknot. They're dressed like clowns, and they are just rocking out. And the crowd are shit-faced. Like it is the wildest thing, man. Check it out. Yeah, Arthur Brown.
Well, that would explain the main stage at Glastonbury, because it's still a pyramid, but it's obviously like...
Is it really? Oh, that's great. They're still doing that.
It's like probably as big as a real pyramid. It's absolutely massive. It was quite interesting seeing Ed Sheeran play on it, because he played on his own. It was a solo acoustic show, and he's just
hell.
one guy on this gigantic pyramid stage.
My nephew went and saw him. He loves Ed Sheeran and that, and good on him for it. And they went to the show and they paid like, I don't know, $500 for front row seats. And it was like, and it was a major show, like 40,000 people there or something. And it was him and a bloody acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! Just think about how much money that is. You know, like 40,000 times, let's say 500. That's a fucking load of money, and you're not even paying roadies or any shit.
Crazy.
He probably does his own bloody tuning and everything, you know, changes his own strings, and people were happy with it. Oh, fair enough. You know, if it's good work if you can get it. Jesus Christ, pretty ballsy.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah, yeah. Ed Sheeran just stopped the show, didn't he? I don't know where to go after that.
There was a stampede after that set that I saw him play. Not like proper like, you know, crazy running, but it was a case of if you tried to go against it, you would have got crushed.
Where, away or towards?
It was just towards the exit. So I reckon about it probably would have
Fuck this, we're out of here.
must have been good.
Yeah, that's right.
I reckon it was at least 80,000 people that watched his main stage set, and all at once, as soon as he finished the last song, it just was a heaving mass towards the exits.
That's dangerous stuff, like what happened recently over in... Where else in the States was that, man, when those people got crushed? Evidently, my daughter was... I didn't know who the people were. I don't follow that type of music, but my daughter was saying the main dude, who was everyone was there, hadn't played in a while, and people were dying, and some girl managed to get up out of the crowd onto stage and grab the microphone off him and tell him, stop the fucking show. People are dying out there. And he didn't stop the show.
Oh, really?
He started the next song.
Astro World concert.
Was that?
Is that it? 9 people?
9 people,
Crushed to death.
Crushed to death, man.
Oh, it's up to 10.
Has it? It almost happened to me at the Soundgarden at Big Day Out in Auckland. It would have been 40,000 people just crushing forward. Yeah. And it was getting to the point, I'm a big guy, and I was finding it hard to breathe. And I had to get out. And they didn't have any water, and it was weird. Wouldn't they just have hoses on every motherfucker trying to cool them down? Yeah. And I remember just turning around like, I'm going to faint or something, so I'm out of here. And I just went like this, like full battle truck, fist in front of my face, and I was like, boom, went, you know? And sorry, but if you happen to be there, but I just ran through everyone, man, like parting the Red Seas. And again, turned around, and these people were patting me on the back, man, and I caused this whole river of people to get out. It was fucking great. Those were the days.
Might have to take you to some of my gigs to get out of venues. Some of these small pubs where you can't get through the Pandas to load your gear out.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we have to get into that. So, let's start with the Swamp Stompers. How did you guys get together, and why did you choose that style of music, and how did you get gigs? And if you didn't have any music out until this new album.
Well, we had EPs, so we had 5 or 6 track EPs, and that was sort of like spaced 2 years apart. But yeah, not a full album until September of this year. So we toured off the back of the EPs. 2012 we formed in Lismore on the far north coast up near Byron.
So how'd you get to Lismore? You working up there? Oh, it was uni, was it?
Yeah, uni. Yep. So the drummer and I, we were both studying at Southern Cross Uni in Lismore, and I was doing a double bachelor degree, sort of contemporary music and secondary education. So the guy who ended up becoming the drummer in the Swamp Stompers, he had failed the majority of his first year subjects, so he was essentially repeating. So when I started my first year, he was still in the same units. So we ended up going through a lot of the same units together for the next few years. And he was sort of a real kooky, crazy, lovable guy. Yeah. Like, you knew he was in a room as soon as you walked into it. And I just remember thinking, like, who's this guy? How come he's failed all these units? Like, he must be that good if he's still here doing this. Yeah. And then he came up to me at Blues Fest in Byron Bay, the first time I ever went as a punter. Yep. And he just walked up and said, "Hey, man, you go to the same uni as me, yeah? If you came for a jam, let me know. I'll play drums." I was like, "Oh, yeah, cool. Looking for a drummer." Yep. And he said that his old man saw me play the support slot for Rose Tattoo
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he sent his son a message at uni to say, this guy's coming up there. Make
Yep.
sure you grab him first before any other drummers do. Yeah, so he approached me and we put together a duo for
Yep.
probably 9 months. We played as the Swamp Stompers as a duo.
Okay.
We recorded the first EP as a duo as well, so I played all the bass. And then our bass player, who was a guitarist at the time, joined.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a photo of myself and the drummer on stage with our now bass player in the crowd, like fist pumping to us.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, so he just loved the style and said that he wanted to be a part of it, regardless of what instrument it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, we converted him to bass, and he's just made it his own now. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so unfortunately, the original drummer had to leave the band for 4 years, I think it was.
Okay.
He got like an autoimmune disease, kidney, so he can't tour. He's on like dialysis and
Oh, shit, really?
yeah, pretty heavy, being in your late 20s and dealing with that. But
Oh, yeah, for sure.
yeah, he started like a solo project where he can play like local shows and
Yeah.
still play music. But yeah, we're very fortunate to get him to play drums on the new album.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because
awesome.
we all went down to where he's from on the far south coast so he could do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think 9 or 10 tracks on the new Swamp Stompers album have him on drums, even though he was going to hospital every second day in between.
Far out, man. That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts when you listen to it. You wouldn't imagine that he's, that unwell and playing drums that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it, man. You going to release singles off of that as well?
We thought about it.
What if it takes off, man?
Yeah, well, it's a
You have the John Farnham question there, mate. Yeah. Be like, oh, what do we do?
it's a worrying conundrum, but at the same time, I don't think I'd be unhappy if it did happen. I mean,
Yeah.
if
Well,
someone saw it and went, "Holy shit, this is amazing," why are you guys broken up? Then maybe we consider it. But yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Well, as any artist, you want to you want people to be able to see and hear your art, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, we ticked off probably 90% of the things that we wanted to do
Yeah.
that we set as goals from day one. I think we've played close to 700 shows with that band, and
Wow.
yeah, we were meant to play Europe in 2020, but we've cancelled it twice in a row. So that's going to be the last hurrah. We'll do a European tour,
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, and then come back to Australia and do the farewell on Aussie soil.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah,
Yeah. COVID willing.
the plan is to get the original drummer back in the fold for some of those gigs as well. Send him off in the right way and make sure it's the original lineup.
Oh, that sounds great, man. So it's a Swamp Stompers, and we've done the... Oh, actually, I was wanted to ask you about your guitar style. How did you get into guitar? Like, was it from listening to those albums, or what was your influence there?
Well, it's an interesting story looking back at it now. I went to a school called Bega West Public School, which is no longer a school. It's sort of merged with another one. But
Okay.
it had quite a healthy sort of music program there at the time, which was unusual for a small country town with people there weren't that many musicians of note within the system. They were just kind of people that loved playing music to
Yeah.
beginner, intermediate level. They just had such a passion for it that it rubbed off on everyone that picked up the instruments
Yeah.
at the school. So we had a choice between recorder and guitar.
Wow, what a choice.
And to this day, I still remember walking like a zombie towards the recorder group, thinking that Mum will love me because recorders are cheap.
Oh, there's no way you were thinking that.
And then I was standing there,
Nice lad.
nah, Mum's going to have to buy me a guitar.
That's
So
great.
went to the other group, and the rest is
Yeah.
history. But
fantastic.
yeah, the principal at the time, I think he released a record when he was in his 20s, so he had this passion for
That's great.
rock music. So
Yeah.
he noticed that I was a really shy kid, and that I was picking the guitar up much quicker than the other kids in the group. So he said, if you can go home and get your parents to buy you a guitar strap for your acoustic, we'll make you the guitarist out the front of the band and you can sing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't sing. He goes, well, no one else has volunteered, so it's going to have to be you.
Yeah.
And me, the shy kid, I'm just like shaking, like, I don't want to do it. Like, I barely talk, let alone sing. Anyway, he put me up the front, and I think it was like a Christmas carol or something, the first gig with the school band. And
Yeah.
I was front and centre and sort of decided that I actually enjoyed it. And I think it gave me a lot of confidence, not only with music, but in life and social situations as well. So it was a pretty life-defining moment,
That's
I think.
amazing. Good on him.
Yeah.
And you got applause, was that it?
Yeah, I think just the adrenaline of
Yeah, it's a
people
buzz.
cheering, especially at that age when you haven't really experienced that.
And no one wants to stand up at that age. You
Yeah.
know, very few kids do, you know. And so I think you would have got a lot of respect from other kids just to do it.
Yeah.
Just to be up in front of everyone. That takes some balls, you know.
Well, that was the other thing. I mean, like I wouldn't say I was unpopular or super popular. I was sort of, somewhere in the middle with friend groups. And I think it was social cred at that time, People see you up there doing something ballsy like that and they're like, holy shit, like this guy's super shy off stage, but he gets up there and he's an animal. Like,
Well, you've seen, not that it's similar, but have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
yeah.
That final scene.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like I remember there's a guy I went to school with, Thomas Waituru, and I went to a pretty rough school in South Auckland. I was about once Warriors and all that. And he did the same thing. He got up and did an a cappella version of, what's that, Tracy Chapman song. Not Fast Car, the one, last night I heard the screaming loud voices behind the wall. Anyway, it's this beautiful, and he got up in front of this rough nut, like hardcore, and he did this beautiful a cappella version. He got a standing ovation. It was like, it was Napoleon Dynamite. We just couldn't believe he had the balls to get up there in front of us and do that.
Yeah.
And but even more importantly, I think he did such a good version. I've always liked that song from hearing his particular take on it,
Oh, yeah.
James Hetfield's the same.
What happened to him?
Lead singer of Metallica.
Yeah.
Throughout school, wouldn't talk
Really? Is that
until
right?
he was singing there. And then everyone was listening.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like a way of proving a point, and people sort of underestimate you when you're the shy person at the back of the room that doesn't say much.
Yeah.
And then you get up on stage and it's all of a sudden like everyone that sort of doubted you is like, oh no, like what have we done? We sort of like,
Yeah.
What have we created?
yeah.
Yeah.
I felt
Well,
like,
you can judge people, can't you? It's always
Yeah.
society, human society in general, no matter where, is the squeaky wheel gets the oil, man. So
it's kind of like one of my favourite movies from that era as a kid, School of Rock. The way that he sort of gives those kids confidence, and they get up in front of their parents, and the parents are like, oh my god, like we didn't know they had it in them. So,
yeah. Did you see the original School of Rock documentary about the actual guy?
oh, I have seen something about it. Yeah, I don't think I've watched the whole thing though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Well, he's basically Jack Black. Like the School of Rock thing wasn't as good as the documentary. Like he's just all these kids are up there playing. He's at the front of the stage at this pub and all that. He's saying, "Come on, give it to us," And he just loves rock and roll, man. And I love rock and roll, man. Like I love music, and it's why I don't know when I kind of get a bit annoyed with these game shows that take the piss out of metal and music, and I don't know. It's like I was thinking about the other day watching Rockers, and it's kind of fun and all that type of stuff. But I'm like, this stuff was really important to me, and still kind of is.
Yeah,
Taking the piss out, it brings music brings things to people, and I don't know. I've never been a big fan of comedy music. What do you think of comedy music?
yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, speaking of Jack Black, I mean,
Yeah.
Tenacious D springs to
Tenacious
mind.
D. Actually, that's probably a lie, because I don't mind some Tenacious D stuff.
It's probably the only one that I'd listen to and enjoy. But I feel like there's a sense of musicality there that isn't present in most comedy music. Like Jack Black can sing, not the greatest singer, but it's he's got some chops.
I think there's an honesty with. I think he loves rock.
Yeah,
Although he had to play this character a million times, where he's this rock guy and all that. So he's like the Rock now. He's just got one character. Have you noticed the Rock's nipples fucking face the ground? Have you seen that shit? We watched The Jungle the other day, and Arlo, my boy, 8-year-old, goes, "Dad, what's up with his nipples? Fucking check out the Rock's nipples."
Probably
man."
gyno from too much.
Yeah, I think he might have actually got those tit implants to do his titty thing.
Peking plants.
Yeah, I think he might have, man, because his nipples are pushed down. They face the fucking ground. It's like an old monkey's nipple.
It's too fucking big.
there's a guy. he's probably going to kill me if he sees this, but
You probably will. We're famous.
We'll tag him, will we?
Yeah, we'll tag.
there's a band called the Southern River Band,
Yeah.
and he's like Bon Scott reincarnated, but like
Wow.
the Sunset Strip version, like Motley Crue meets Bon Scott.
Oh my god, he sounds awesome.
And he's got like fucking like radar guns, so just like,
just nipples out. Oh, yeah.
and he just always performs with his shirt off, so it just sticks out like a dog's balls.
Fucking good on him.
But I think he knows it, and he just owns it.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah, he got pointy nipples, long nipples. Just and the Rock owns it. He wears these tight shirts. I thought they might have put fake nipples on that pointed down just to make a talking point. Because after I noticed that when Arlo said it, I just couldn't stop looking at it. I didn't even know what happened in the film. How do we get onto that? It's rather strange. But I have what band is it? This dude in?
Southern River Band. I'd check him out. I would.
Yeah, we'll put a link up to him because that sounds great. Like Bon Scott, got to be one of the greatest frontmen of all time.
Yeah. Well, this guy's straight from that school. He's actually even from almost the same town. Like he's from Fremantle or thereabouts in WA.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole band's from WA.
Yeah.
I'd say like they've sort of got a similar thing going to Cold Chisel, AC/DC.
Rock. Good old, just solid
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Like he gets up there with like cow print pants on and a cow print vest, and it's all like fuzzy like boots and glam.
Oh, is that, I can see them. We're going to put that up. That looks great. Look, I don't get it, because if you're on stage, you must be like we went to Jam. I let the kids have the day off school today, and we went to Jamboree, and there's no one there, which is great. Which is a local water park, and we went down one of these big rides on this raft thing, and my daughter, she's 16, just started screaming her head off. And so I started screaming, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And she goes, yeah, in society, you're never allowed to scream. Yeah, and these rides, you're allowed to scream as hard as you fucking can, And I'm like, fucking good on you. So I couldn't talk by the end of it, man. And I realised my scream's not that loud. Because I got a deeper voice and all that. I got a pretty shit scream. I'm sure if I was scared enough, I might scream all right. But,
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever properly screamed. I mean, maybe like underwater. When you're a teenager and you get underwater and have a screaming match, that's probably about the extent of it.
You can't hear anything then, can you? Did you do anything? Give it a go. I hope you won't be disappointed in your scream. I was disappointed in mine. So, fuck, is that it? That's what I've been doing the Wim Hof breathing and shit I always go on about, and I thought I would have had a big scream.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, but maybe I wasn't breathing properly.
I wish I could do the Deep Purple scream.
Ian Gillan.
Yeah.
Sweet Child in Time. Oh, my God.
Every time I try that, I lose my voice for 2 days.
My wife's a singer, and like a proper good one, and knows how to do it properly. And she says with Bon Scott and all those guys, that raspiness is in the mouth. So they're not doing it in their throat because you'll just ruin your vocal cords. So somehow you've got to project that sound into your mouth. And I saw, I think I was watching some Soundgarden or Nick Reinberger on the radio played some Soundgarden. Chris Cornell, man, he could sing. But I saw a comment someone put on Chris Cornell, like on the footage I was watching, and it said, Chris Cornell, one of the greatest studio singers of all time. And I'd have to say yes, because I saw him live, and holy shit, man, like he fucking thrashed his voice. Like he could not hit those notes when I saw him.
Oh,
like he wasn't trained, man, which is weird. Because even if you got a great voice and all that, then you get famous, wouldn't you just go to a great vocal coach so you can keep doing it? Like Robert Plant's the same from Led Zeppelin. Holy shit, if you listen to some of their stuff after 75 when he blew his voice out, I'm amazed I hope he never sees this because I love him, but I'm amazed he managed to keep a career because his voice is shit.
Well, they all get nodes and stuff like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Jimmy Barnes had nodes.
Did he get him lasered off or something? Because last time I heard him sing, it was actually really good. I'm like, fuck, he's doing all right.
It's pretty impressive, like at his age, that he can still hit those notes. Like even someone in their 20s would struggle.
Chisel's stuff is really high. I tried to sing one of their songs. No way, man. I got to change the key on that. It's massively high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do the K-San if people yell it out?
Or I do have it in my arsenal.
It's a friend of mine. He busted it out the other day, and I don't know what I thought about it. I'm like, we don't want to encourage these people with that shit. The Cold Chisel have so many good songs.
Yeah. I mean, I had to learn songs like that to survive in the pub gigs that I was doing.
Fucking A,
As a teenager, a scrawny kid like me, You know, it's like when Angus talks about how he moves so much on stage. He said he used to do it to duck the bottles that people were throwing at him, so he had to keep moving.
Is that right?
It was like me with Kay San and all those songs. Like, if you didn't do them, there'd just be a riot in some of these small country pubs. They'd just be like, oh, you know, we don't want to hear your shit. Just play something we know, you know?
Yeah, play something we all know. That's the issue, isn't it, man?
And to which I say, what if you said that to Mick Jagger when he was at my level, and then he took it personally and then never pursued it because of the environment that he was in?
Well, pressure makes diamonds, though, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
They all went through. I'm sure they would have gone through shit. You
Yeah.
know, maybe not him, because for some reason chicks like them. So you know, but I think like the AC/DC got to where they are or were because of that environment.
Yeah.
You know, it was a battleground, man.
Yeah.
And that's and they were a gang. You know, going into battles.
Yeah.
Fucking great. It's better than doing a real battle. You know, anyone thinking of joining the army, just join the fucking band.
I mean, with that band, it was just sheer determination and self-belief. I mean, I don't think at any point in their journey did they ever doubt that they had it.
Yeah.
From the very first.
But they did have it.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and there was no one doing that sound. I think the Easy Beats kind of had a sound similar to that, you know, but there's the Young Brothers influence there anyway, but they worked on that AC/DC sound, and there's nothing like it. Like, it was straight to the point. Evidently, Angus plays really softly and just has the amp up full tip and just softly with the pick, and he lets the amp bloom. So, yeah, it's one of the secrets to it, I think. Well, also, he's fantastic. And I like, you know, I like the fact that they didn't change. You know, it's good on them.
Well, I think they're my favourite band.
Are they really?
Yeah.
What era?
Oh, I think personally, probably like the late 70s Bon Scott era.
Yeah.
Like,
Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
My personal favourite, sorry, jump in. One people don't. It's got Sin City on it. Power Age.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a
I was
great
going to say,
album.
1978 Power Age is probably my favourite. And if you ask anyone worth a pinch of salt as a guitarist, they'll say that album.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask your generic, like, AC/DC fan who knows AC/DC from You Shook Me All Night Long,
Or
Back in Black,
Thunderstruck or some shit.
Thunderstruck,
Yeah.
they'll say, you know, Brian Johnson, Thunderstruck era was the best. But I don't know. If you go back to that Power Age album, it was...
And they were hungry then, man. They were pumping the albums out. Have you seen Steve Tyler from Aerosmith in the States? And they do... AC/DC do Sin City. They're on some like Saturday Night Live shit or something like that. And he's laughing. He goes, here's some band from Australia. Da-da-da-da-da. And they kind of have a bit of a joke. And it's AC/DC, and there's a crowd. No one knows them at all. I don't know if it's their first gig in the States or something, but no one's seen them, and they just hit the ground fucking running. Like, the crowd looked like they've been run over by a train. Angus is laying on the ground, fucking shaking his head off. And Sin City has just got great lyrics. It's a fucking great song, man.
Yeah.
And they tore it up. And at the end of it, I think Steve Tyler's just like, his jaw's just dropping. Like, holy shit! There goes Aerosmith. Like, there goes all those fucking bands, man.
They just thrived off that sort of stuff, though. Like, if someone said something to the Young Brothers like that, it was like, no, they're going to find out the hard way.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And that they're going to make an effort to make sure it's going to crush them as much as physically possible.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out there and half-ass it.
Well, that live album they did with Judas Priest, it was around then they're playing in Glasgow from, was it Let There Be Rock or Let There Be Blood or something it's called, If You Want Blood.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say, I don't think there's a rock and roll band in the world at their peak that could top that shit. Even Led Zeppelin at their peak, man. Like, I just don't think, you know, anyone would want to follow AC/DC in that frame of fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like, they were incredible.
Well, it's interesting, the conversation of the best live rock albums. I mean, for me, If You Want Blood, you've got it. The live album's up there. But
A Whole Lot of Rosie.
I
rocked it on that one.
I think my personal favourite rock album for a live show would be Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a great choice. I haven't listened to that in bloody years.
Yeah, so many hits on there, and I think...
Was that Gary Moore playing on that?
Yeah, I think Gary Moore and...
The American Cat.
Scott, whatever his name is.
Yeah, the tall fellow.
Scott
with the
Gorham.
straight hair, yeah.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of the songs, the live versions first, and then found the studio versions later from that album. And I honestly prefer most of the live versions to the studio versions.
Yeah, there's a great documentary on Phil Lynott coming out. My brother just sent me a link to it, like all rare footage of him. And he was a poet, man. He wrote some great fucking lyrics, that guy. We've spoken quite a bit about Thin Lizzy on this podcast, actually, man. They're a favourite. He's fucking great.
Yeah, he's just such a classic frontman.
I can't even remember that album. I'm going to have to recheck it. I thought you might have said Song Remains the Same or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Zeppelin, but yeah, for me, Thin Lizzy and AC/DC, probably up the top for the live albums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Zeppelin's studio stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that Song Remains the Same. Page he's at his pinnacle. It's before the snow kicked in and all that type of stuff. And if you listen to some of the 1975 or 1977, there's all these bootlegs out. Oh my God, he was off his fucking face the whole time. He couldn't play. Like, he's just dribbling all over guitar and shit. It's fucking awful. I think in 73 he was at his pinnacle. But yeah, with Bonham. Yeah, Bonham and John Paul Jones. Holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
something else.
Something else. They were so young as well, but just phenomenal players. Yeah, cool, man. Is there a live album for you in the works? How's your band going, man? So
yeah, I mean,
you're pretty settled now with your band?
Yeah, the band's going good. We've just been rehearsing recently for the tour that I'm starting tomorrow, actually. But
where are you playing tomorrow?
I'm playing in Tanger on the far south coast tomorrow, but that's solo. And then we've got a gig in Port Kembla, actually. So
the Servo.
Servo, yeah.
When's that?
So that's the 12th of December. It's on a Sunday. And it's
cool, man.
3 local acts.
Sweet.
Sunday afternoon. Yeah, it should be cool. It's first gig in Wollongong with the band since March, I think. So we're looking forward to that one.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So we've got Red on drums. He's
Red.
He's the go-to guy locally and rock solid on the kit. So
he's rock solid, man. Puts on a good show.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Red, and it's something that I've been lucky to have my whole career. Just drummers that are almost frontmen from behind the kit.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
all drummers want to be though. Don't they, really.
He's just got that energy, and you know he doesn't have a mic, and he's almost louder than me with a mic. So.
Take it away. Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get Adrian on the we'll get him on the podcast. He's got an interesting story for sure. Oh,
he's got so many cool stories. I mean, not to give too much away if he's coming on, but he did play percussion for Richie Sambora, and I think Orianthe was in that band with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure he'd love to tell you all about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they tour quite a lot. I was watching was it Manny's Guitar Shop over in LA or something, and Bon Jovi and Orianthe were there. Wasn't she? She's an Australian girl, eh? She was going to be. Was she Michael Jackson's guitarist? Was that?
I think she was. Yeah.
Yeah. She might have been a bit old for him. Anyway. You thought, fuck this. I'm going to take all these drugs and die. You've had that guitar stuck to you. We can put it down. Or do you want to do another song?
Oh, I'm just trying to give Cole Clark a plug.
Oh, let's. So you're an ambassador for Cole Clark?
Yeah. So technically endorsed by the company.
Okay.
Hence why I got the guitar custom made.
Beautiful. Well, walk us through the guitar, man. What's it made of?
So it's Tassie Blackwood, front, sides, and back. It's got an ebony fretboard. All gold hardware. It's got the Cole Clark 3-way pickup here, so you can
do all sorts of blending. Pizzos in the bridge.
Yeah.
And so it's got a blend of pizzos and a humbucker.
I think it's got like a body one here somewhere too.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can put it on the face mic. It's face or bridge, and then obviously a second input for this separate humbucker. So there's quite a few options with it. I've been plugging one input through the PA just as a clean acoustic sound, and the other one straight through a guitar amp with a overdriven humbucker sound.
Oh, nice.
But
how do you go with the feedback? Do you put one of those like butt plug things in it?
I used to put them in my old guitar. I find that this one, it doesn't really seem to need it.
That's great.
Yeah, it's so far so good. I mean, I haven't haven't done too many.
Yeah, I
Like
suppose
test
if you
runs.
got foldbacks right in front of you,
Yeah.
it's I can understand that.
It will happen eventually, but
Will happen, but I don't know. I know Tommy does it, so I think he does it anyway, and he gets a good sound. It can be. I've seen a lot of people put the plug in, and it just sounds like an electric, kind of shitty electric guitar. You know, it gets
Yeah.
rid of that acoustic bloom that happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I found that my previous guitar was a bit like that. It sort of just sucked the life out of it too much with the plug-in, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think the great thing about this is you can also split the signal from my DI box, so you can get a clean amp sound as well as the clean PA sound to blend with the distorted guitar amp
so
sound.
it gives you all these options.
Yeah, it's almost too many options, but yeah, you can simplify the setup. You can even just plug it in direct through the.
Plug it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get to work with Cole Clark?
So when I was 16, obviously I was still at school and doing a few gigs here and there. And sort of like a mentor of mine at the time said that there was some solo gigs if I wanted them, and I'd never played proper solo gigs, so I
Yeah.
sort of learned a repertoire and wrote a few original songs that I could pull off solo. And Lloyd Spiegel was coming to town and needed a support act, so
Yep.
I got thrown in
You
the
got
deep end.
gig. Fantastic.
And there's actually footage of me getting up with Lloyd. He invited me up for a jam on 2 songs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was my first proper jam with a blues muso. And
And what a muso, man. That
Yeah.
lad can play. Holy moly.
baptism of fire.
Yeah.
He was crazy intimidating player, but a lovely guy.
Really nice guy?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, even to this day, we still talk, and he's still a big mentor of mine. Like, he'll give me, feedback on different songs and where I'm heading with my music and stuff. So
Yeah.
super,
Oh, that's
super
nice.
important.
It's good to have honest feedback, eh?
Yeah. And I mean, even to the point where if I play in Melbourne, he'll put me up for the night because he knows that how much it costs to get a motel
Stay
down
in
there.
bloody Melbourne, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because he's been there and done it himself at the same age, so he knows how important that sort of stuff is on the road. Like, you could easily spend like $500 just on accommodation for a 3-gig weekend.
Well, that's right. I was just talking to Matt about my friend Paul. He's a bluesman from New Zealand. And when he came over here for a tour, he stayed at our place. And I think his wife, Corinne, had given him like $50. Like, that's it.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit, yeah, because you're here to make money and do a tour. You're not here to party and spend all your money, Like, you could easily spend everything you bloody earned that weekend, easily.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, it's not unusual to end a weekend of gigs with less than you started with.
well, that's a bit rough, isn't it?
It does happen, especially with bands. Like, if you're trying to pay a 4-piece band and the PA hire,
Yeah.
the sound guy.
Oh, Jesus. And,
Yeah.
well, that's the issue like we have with our band is with COVID and that, how do you keep a band together? There's
Yeah.
no gigs. Like, what is this band? Like,
Yeah.
you obviously working with some really nice people or good people in that because it's difficult to keep people together.
Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing actually because I mean my band has shown so much loyalty, sticking with me and
Yeah.
giving me that support to do these band shows. But I mean when I asked them to be a part of it, I envisaged that we'd be gigging every weekend with that band and there'd be opportunities, but there's just not at the moment. So it's a case of doing solo shows on Sundays because venues aren't booking bands, and then
Yeah.
you might get your Friday, Saturday with a band. So it's sort of like balancing it out at the moment, and then hopefully
Yeah.
when COVID blows over, there'll be more band gigs.
Did you try much during last couple of years with the online? The online doing gigs online or the online presence, like Patreon or something like that. Have you?
Yeah, I gave it a crack. I did like I think I had like a GoFundMe page set up for a tip jar. So
Yep.
I did like a 2-hour live stream every now and then, like maybe
Yeah.
once a month or so. And I did I replaced like a proper tour with a live stream tour where I did
That's cool.
3 gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. And it actually, weirdly enough, I think I made more money with that than I would have with a normal gig. So it worked out really well. I mean, hats off to the fans for
Good on them.
chipping in, because they could have easily just watched it and not contributed.
I think you're almost better off to not put a paywall up, man. People are good.
Yeah.
Like all they need is to make it easy.
Yeah.
Have it on PayPal. Like if there's a button there, $10. I did it the other day. There's a Melbourne artist. I should give her a plug. Josephine Holics. I think she's a country artist. That's another country artist. I adore her. I think she's fucking great.
Cool.
Josephine Holics. I'll send you a link to her stuff. And I was just listening to her album on Spotify, and there's a flag up there saying, "Hey, do you want to give her $10?" And Spotify get no money. $10 goes straight to her. It must be a new thing Spotify are doing. I'm like, fucking hell, I'll give her $10.
Yeah, cool.
I think that's a great idea that Spotify are doing that now and not taking the cut.
Yeah.
So, because I'll support till the cows come home. Fuck yeah. If I'm listening to your stuff all the time, I'll flick you some money, but I don't need a CD.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I'm not going to buy something I don't really need, So, but yeah, I think with the online stuff, there just needs to be a simple way to throw some money in.
Because people have the right intentions, but if it takes too long, they'll just get off.
Put your name in here, give me your email address, and all that. I don't want to have. I've already got 10 million fucking adverts coming.
Needs to be one click.
Yeah, 1 click. Yeah, if it's 2 clicks, it's too fucking much. Sorry, man. I'm a Westerner. Yeah. I don't do that shit.
Yeah,
people have got no attention span these days.
That's right. What's my name again? For fuck's sake.
Well, the thing with that, like $10, how long would it take you to get that in streaming? Like you would need
$1 million. I don't know how fucking much.
I reckon you'd need close to 10,000 streams for that.
Yeah, you would.
And that'd take a long time if you're at a grassroots level.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, that streaming shit, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
It's... And having said that, maybe it is in the negative. I know for smaller artists and that, like yourself and probably myself included, you can get stuff out there. But if you look at the quality of popular music in general, if you put the radio on and listen to this shit, it's fucking pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like a popular station. It's the music shit. So I think it hasn't helped the quality of music, the style, whatever it is, for popular music. And I know there's always fantastic musicians, like yourself, that putting music out there, but the mass population don't get to hear it. And what they're hearing, like the classic thing we're talking about, the Beatles, they were #1 artists. And like I was learning Penny Lane the other day, there's like 3 key changes and modulations in that song.
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking amazing. And when you actually learn the chords in it, I'm like, what's going on here? This is all over the shop. There's actually some really interesting music happening here. #1, no big deal.
Yeah.
People, the public have a good ear. They know what's good. Like Smells Like Teen Spirit fucking rocked and was #1 for ages and changed the generation.
Yeah.
What's the most popular album of all time? Still Dark Side of the Moon, because it's a fucking great album.
That's it.
So the public aren't that dumb. But the music that the mass population, like pop stars and all that, the mass media is giving them is dumb music.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even with like the genre that I've gone into now with that country thing.
Yeah.
If you listen to the popular country artists, to me, it just all sounds the same.
There's not a lot happening with a lot of it. And that's where I got my bad idea of country until I actually started discovering some alt country. There's a band I love. I actually do some of their songs. They're from the 90s called Grantley Buffalo. Oh, man. It's country. It's Americana country shit. And fuck, this boy can sing, and his choruses are great. Wonderful music, And that gave me an idea that doesn't... I think country gets pigeonholed until alt country came along. If it's a 7th chord or something, fucking ain't country. Like you have to follow.
Jazz.
Yes, that's jazz shit or something like. But now with old country, you can get away with not really being that country. You can do a lot of things with it.
I'm pretty glad that it's a thing. I mean, even the Golden Guitars, they've got a category now just for alt country album of the year, which for someone like me, it sort of gives you a bit of hope that you don't have to, pander to what everyone else is doing just to be in the running. You can still be yourself, and there's a category that we fit. So it's nice to know that you can be authentic.
Yeah, the whole genre thing is like Adam's into metal, and if metal's ridiculous, how many genres are fucking there?
Yeah.
Like there's 80 genres, math rock. Fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, no one calls it that anymore.
It's changed its names now, algebra.
Geometry.
Geometry rock.
Pythagorean.
Fuck those pi rockers, they suck.
What about Wheeler Walker Jr.? Have you heard his stuff?
No, I haven't.
With songs like Eating Pussy and Kicking Ass.
I think I have heard that, actually.
Which one of your quiz is going to suck my dick? That's another one of his top songs. He's a comedian turned country.
But that's honest music, though, isn't it?
He's just taking the piss and
Which
enjoying
one of you
himself.
Chris is going to suck my dick?
One of my favourites is called "Fuck You, Bitch."
Wow,
that's-
yeah.
It's very standard, but it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, dogs can be annoying, man. Mine fucking ate my shoes all the time. Yeah. Boo was a bitch.
And where is it?
She got cancer and died. You know, and I actually did wish she died because she ate so many. These fucking glasses aren't cheap, and she ate like 5 pairs. The dog was unbelievable, man. But she was some purebred. We got her from this dude in Albion Park, and the dog Boo, she was a staffy. Yeah, she's a cool dog. We eventually got her working right, but she only lasted like 2 years, man. I think a lot of these, he wasn't a breeder, but he just happened to have all these dog cages and shit around. And I think they're kind of interbreeding all these dogs and that, and they're just getting all these type of problems.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, and it's better for them because then they get to sell you another dog or something. But I tell you what, if we're going on about dogs and country music, there should be a song about picking up dog shit because I fucking hated it by the end. Picking up the dog shit again. Kids said they'd fucking do it if I gave them a dog. They haven't done it once.
We just got a cat recently. At least they have a designated spot where they go.
Yeah, yeah.
They sort of go there every time.
Yeah, yeah. Got to watch it if your missus gets pregnant, though. Yeah, you can't have cats around. The cat. What's that stuff they give the baby? Toxoplasmosis or something like that.
We've gone over it before.
Oh, have we? I can't remember any of our podcasts. I've probably repeated myself 10,000 times, like a country song.
Geez, that's one thing I haven't written a song about. Oh, correction, yes I have.
What was that?
I've got one reference to a dog in one of my songs.
Well, that's people like dogs. You know, I don't like dog songs. Like, I didn't think I could cry anymore as an adult. Like, I don't know, I haven't cried since I was a kid, probably, you know. Even at funerals, I haven't really had someone mega close to me pass away. I did recently, but I couldn't go because of COVID. But I found it difficult to cry. And then not Boo, but the dog before that, Fidel, and I had her for 12 years, and she got cancer and all that, and she was sick, and one day she just came up to me, and I thought she was going right, and she just put her head on my legs when I was sitting there and just looked at me and asked to die. Like, I didn't need to hear it.
Yeah.
It was it. She said enough.
I think you just know too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she went around to everyone, man, she said fucking goodbye to all the kids and that, I was like a fucking baby, man. I'd snot coming out my nose and everything. I was a complete fucking mess. It was so weird.
Such a big part of your life too. Like,
yeah,
we had a beagle, and I think he was like 17 or something. So that was like the majority of my life.
It's part
at
of
the
the
time.
family, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, like a proper part. Yeah, wild. I think it was, and they are good. I'm going to have to get another dog, partly for that reason, because our children and our society is we're disenfranchised from death. You know, if you listen to the old fairy tales, Ring Around Rosie and all that type of stuff, they were about death. Death was there. Everyone had a brother or sister that died, man. They all had 12 kids and that, because death was everywhere, and it was part of life. And now it's not. Hey, you know, I've been to some terrible funerals over here, you know, where you don't see the body. The priest, I went to a funeral once, and the priest was on his watch to the dad as he was giving a speech, saying, we'll get another one coming in, mate. Fuck off.
That's a bit rough.
It was rough, man. It was, so we don't deal with it too hard. And I think by having a pet die is really good for kids.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to die one day as a parent. Well, there's going to be me one day. You guys are going to learn how to deal with this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's most kids' like first experience of it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because, I mean, most animals don't live that long, so you're still generally a kid. If you've got your childhood pet, it sort of passes away when you're still a teenager or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my boy's got fucking guinea pigs at the moment. They just won't die. I've left the cage open. I thought the cat would get them. She won't.
Trying hard to get rid of them.
Yeah. Well, they last for 10 years or some shit. And
really?
they're ruining the grass. So, and I thought of eating them. Even in Peru, they eat them. Stick them kebab. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Geez, I've got to be careful with this being a teacher, but I had a student today who was obsessed with what a dinosaur would taste like.
Wow. That's a good... I reckon it tastes
Chicken.
like crocodile.
Yeah, that's what the other kid said. It's like, got to taste like chicken.
Everything
they
tastes like chicken.
believe the evolution is into birds.
Into chickens. Have you seen that thing where they say they got a rabbit skeleton and a picture of a rabbit. It's like a meme. So rabbit skeleton, a rabbit, and then what a scientist would think a rabbit would look like from the skeleton. Like if you actually see a rabbit skeleton, it looks fucking wild, like some type of dinosaur.
Oh.
And you can guarantee that a scientist would just put some leathery shit on it and it would look like this fucking gremlin. But it's not. It's a fluffy rabbit. So we actually have no goddamn idea what they look like. The skeleton doesn't actually tell you that much.
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, they were saying that quite a lot of them possibly had feathers, whereas like T-Rexes could have had like heaps of feathers or something.
Yeah, I wondered that because I think... Isn't it weird that they come up with this theory about feathers and then suddenly they find a dinosaur with fucking feathers?
Yeah.
Wait, is God fucking with us? Is this...
Did they?
All the mates... Yeah, they did in China. They found this bloody raptor with feathers, like with imprint in the mud of feathers. But why would you develop feathers which seem to be designed for flight, don't they? They're fractal. You dropped them. They're full of air. Like they've got a lot of coverage. So
maybe
why
the dragons.
That's
where the dragon has come
could
from.
be dragons. Well, actually, when you think about it, I took the kids to the dinosaur museum up in Sydney, and if you look at they don't call them brontosaurus anymore. Fuck, I don't know what they call them. Well, evidently they don't exist. But I don't fucking know. They got the bones mixed up.
Diplodocus.
Yeah, but a big fucking animal. There's no look. It doesn't work. They always thought those huge dinosaurs were in water because there's no way.
No, isn't there a theory going around the gravity was a lot lower then because of the evolutions around the sun was a different course?
Man, you're talking like the Electric Universe there. Wild Thornhill's going to love that shit.
Magicians of the Gods.
Is it?
Yeah, towards the end.
Well, I was thinking that the only thing comparable to these dinosaur bones are whale bones. The ones of the Brachiosaurus with the massive long neck, they've worked out the fucking thing couldn't lift its head up. The biggest skin in the world is a giraffe. And its skin is so thick because it needs massive amounts of pressure to push the fucking blood up to its head. These things, they would have to be the size, the heart would have to be the size of a fucking tank. And the skin would have to be a metre thick to get the blood pressure up to the head.
Jesus.
So the only way, what they're saying now is ridiculous, that these animals, they never lifted their heads up. They just were like vacuum cleaners like this. And you got to think, what about the hinging on the fucking neck bone? Yeah. Give me a break. It doesn't work.
I think
its gravity was less.
Gravity.
They grew to the size they needed to be for gravity. That's why the huge animals are only in water now.
It's still on fucking Wikipedia.
Brontosaurus is wrong, man. Brontosaurus was...
Wikipedia is wrong.
Who would have thought? I used to give them money as well with Wikipedia. I used to go, $10. That's a good idea. The idea of Wikipedia is great, but it's been taken over by dickheads who know the program, and they have one view of the world, and that's it. If you want to know someone's birthday, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's good for lazy students.
Oh, that would be hard as a teacher, man. I was watching Rogan the other day, and they had these guys on about the merging AI, and they got this AI... And they told it, and they said, right, we want to make a video game. I want a rocket ship in the middle, flying through space, and when I press the R button, I want it to go right. L button, I want it to go left, and then I want to fire machine guns with all these buttons and all that. And as they're saying this, on another screen, the goddamn AI is coding what they're saying. It's actually writing the code.
The computer is.
The computer's writing the fucking code for what they're talking about. And there's another one with it's the same AI, it's the most advanced AI. They say, okay, we want a 20-page thesis on why vaccines are bad. And it goes through the internet, finds actual citations from proper universities, and will come out with a thesis, 20-page long, on why vaccines are bad. Jesus. And you cannot tell. It's passed the Turing test. And then they'll say the same thing on why vaccines are good. It'll do the same thing, and all these, they're all cross-referenced, man.
There goes journalism and writing and fucking...
Yeah, like how can a teacher teach like that? Like the whole idea, I'm going to mark you, I think that kind of goes. It needs to be one-on-one. What are you interested in?
Implants.
How can I help you out?
Implants, the teacher's ears will be hooked
like
up.
the rock. Everyone needs downward-facing nipples.
Jeez, they were onto us at uni. They did have a program that you'd submit your essay or whatever it was, and it would run through a plagiarism checker, and it would come back with a report that said the percentage of similarity to what's on the internet.
Yeah.
So if it was like 80%...
My wife used to have to do that. But if you're on the same subject...
Yeah. How many words can you use?
But I think in everyday language, we don't use a couple of thousand or something, if that's it, I don't know. It's a tough one, man?
Yeah.
Like, I think the whole teaching itself also, when, years ago the teachers had the knowledge and then they would give you knowledge. But now they don't actually have the knowledge because you got the knowledge on your fucking phone. Like it's... So what do you, we're changing from the music here, but what do you think about with education in the future? How is it, I think it has to evolve into something else. How do you see it happening?
Well, I guess we've sort of had a glimpse of it with COVID of almost flipping the script. So, it's very self-directed. The kids are got the information at their fingertips and then, they've got some instructions, but the teacher's sort of almost passive.
That sounds very much like Montessori. I had my kids going there.
Yeah.
We found the education there was great. They were just a bit Fruit Loopy, but the actual education was wild, man. The kids had a roster to get their work done by, and this is like at 5 years old. It's like you can do it whenever you want, but by the end of the week, this needs to be done.
Okay.
And like, my boy was freaking out. I haven't done my work. I've got to go to school. And I'm like, there's enough fucking time for that type of shit when you get a job, mate. Get like out. So but there's a real, and universities as well, man.
Yeah, well, they're all doing it online at the moment. Like, I don't think you're allowed to go onto campus here at UOW.
I don't think so. But also online, man. Like, there's so much shit online anyway. Do you really need a uni to aim you in that direction for $70,000? I'm like,
unless you're doing hands-on.
Yeah, you need hands-on with an expert there.
Like chemistry or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think you'd probably need
There's a lot of chemistry shit online, man.
No, but
you can do Harvard courses. You can actually see the
you
lectures
can.
at Harvard on fucking line for free.
But to actually do the experiments, that's the only reason you need to go into the campus, I think.
But they're not even doing that now. You can't even...
No, you probably can't.
You're not allowed on bloody campus. Like, I catch up with Matt over there once a week for a coffee, man. And it's dead. There's poor cafes are still paying rent and shit, and there's no one there.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hate to be a music student right now for the same reason. Like you'd be able to do the theory easily enough from home, but you can't meet people and form bands.
The whole point is to meet people. The art is to meet people, to meet John Lennon and that, who this guy happens to play guitar.
Yeah.
That's the buzz of the thing. I think especially for music, it's like, look at what Beato's doing on, like, the music stuff online is incredible, and it's a fraction, and if you're going to pay for it to get a really good stuff, it's a fraction of the cost of university. Yeah. So they're looking at real trouble, I think. I'm looking at trouble because I need to go to the bathroom. Shall we, I think, what do you reckon?
We're an hour.
I think we're an hour and a half in.
Good.
I think we're looking good. Thanks for coming in, Corey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. It was great.
Been great to chat.
Yeah, that was great. We'll get you in again. I don't think we're finished, but because I think there's more to go. So after the next album comes out, maybe.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, cool. Right, man. Cheers, bro.
Thank you.
All right.
1, 2, 1,
Outro.